Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well-being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to this wonderful space that I create for you every other Monday here on this podcast. I'm your host, Sarita, for the Back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. If you've been here for a little while, you'll know that this is my third year and I'm very excited. And actually, this is my favorite aspect of all of the stuff that I do within my business is to create this amazing space just for you so we can talk about all things to support you on your mindset, manifestation, and your healing journey. All the things that I share with you in this podcast are things that I personally utilize within my own life, and then also the things that I bring into my one-on-one coaching and my teachings. I'm really excited to talk with you today about Venus retrograde. Astrology has been something that I've gotten a lot more into the last couple years. I've been a student of astrology now for, I would say, about 10 some years, but haven't dove that deep into it until just recently. And I utilize astrology and human design within my own personal life to help relate myself better to my own experiences, and then also to relate to the people around me, my friends. And I've recently have started to bring it into my teachings and also my one-on-one coaching. You'll see that astrology and human design are intertwined a lot into this podcast. And my hopes is to bring it a lot more heavily into it because it's such a great way to support you in your manifestation journey, and then also to help you understand yourself as a manifester. So before I get into the meat and potatoes of the episode, because we do have a lot to cover, I did want to give you a little life update with the things that are going on with me. If you remember, I did an episode, it was episode 55, so it was a couple episodes back, where I was talking about my 30-day manifestation experiment that I did in the East Coast. And so a big life update, and I will get a lot more into this as time goes on, and I will be making more announcements as time goes on. But one of the big life updates that I have is I've decided that my time here in San Diego, and I've been living here in the San Diego area now for the last 20 years. Currently, I live in a little area called Ocean Beach. It's very nice. I live about 2 blocks away from the beach, which is really fun. And I love it here. And it's been my home base for quite some time and always been my happy place here in Southern California, that I've decided that I'm ready to move on. And so, like I did for the 30-day experiment in the East Coast, I'm going to be committing to the exact same process for 52 weeks. That means at the beginning of May, I'm going to start a completely nomadic lifestyle, which means I am going to literally be manifesting and creating my life as I go. So very excited to share a lot more in detail about what's going to be happening with that as I prepare and all the things. If you desire to keep up with me on the day-to-day, I've decided to actually create a new platform, personal platform for my own ideas and things that are apart from business. That is on my Instagram and then also TikTok. And you can follow me there at Life of Sarita B. I'm also at that same handle for my personal Facebook, Life of Sarita B. I share a lot more insight around my pet sitting, house sitting, my working out, my healthy eating, my just lifestyle, my emotional wellness lifestyle. And then Sarita Wellness, which you can find me here on this podcast, which is my YouTube handle, my TikTok, and my Facebook and my Instagram, is solely dedicated to my manifestation teachings, the podcast, and anything that has to do with mindset manifestation coaching. So like I said, you can follow my personal journey and insights and all the things that are happening with me, my pet sitting, my house sitting, my traveling, my healthy eating, my workouts, and all that. at the handle Life of Sarita B. That's also TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. That will be unfolded a lot more over the course of the next month and a half because I've got about 8 some weeks here in San Diego left as I wrap things up to start this amazing lifestyle that I'm really, really excited to start living. Okay, one more thing before we jump into the episode. I'm going to do something new that I want to bring into my solo episodes, and that is to share client testimonials. Client testimonials are a great way for you to see the results of or the manifestations of someone else's time working with me. So I'm going to be sharing with you going forward when I do these solo episodes, the client testimonials that I have with people that have worked with me one-on-one. And today I'm going to be sharing with you Ashley's testimonial after working with me during the financial code activation one-on-one sessions. And I'll be talking a little bit more about the financial code activations near the end of this episode. So make sure to keep listening because I have a really, really great offer that will be supportive to you during this Venus retrograde season, specifically looking at your Venus sign. So let me share with you what specifically Ashley said in her testimonial. Ashley says, "What changed for me in working with my time together with Sarita in the financial code activation program was seeing how effective her manifestation exercises were at helping me embrace an energy of abundance. We did a hypnosis session during one of our sessions, and literally the next day, after working on my money mindset in that session, I found out that I randomly got $3,000 in a bonus from work, which is absolutely insane to me and totally unexpected. My biggest breakthrough from working with Sarita was feeling a newfound confidence in my ability to achieve my dreams and goals. And now looking back, the manifestation exercises and processes really helped me find the courage to dream bigger and get outside my comfort zone to work towards a future I envision because I trust that it is completely worth it." I had a great time working with Ashley, so I'm super excited this was result and the manifestations of manifesting $3,000. So these are the type of things that can occur when you open yourself up to receiving, really creating a life that you desire to create via utilizing the tools of intentional manifesting. Okay, let's jump into the fun part of the episode. Very excited to talk to you about Venus retrograde. So Venus retrograde, we're in it about a week now. It started on March 1st. And there's a common misconception that Venus, the sign Venus or the planet Venus, is just about love and romance. When in fact, Venus has a lot more to do with your stability, self-worth, and the values more than just around love and romance. So like any retrograde season, it heavily highlights areas in your life that may be actually in the shadows. So during this Venus retrograde, you can expect things to come to the surface that have to do with things like your values, your self-worth, your relationships, and that also includes your relationships with money. And that's confronting unconscious beliefs that you may have around money and abundance and what you feel like you deserve. Keep in mind, Venus rules your comfort and security, so you may feel a little sensitive about financial security right now during this Venus retrograde. And so if money has been an external validation for you, you might feel like you need to redefine what security means to you and redefine what that means when it comes to material wealth as well. Venus retrograde spans from March 1st through April 12th, which is interesting. April 12th is my birthday. So like I said, during any type of retrograde, it just highlights areas that may be in the shadows or underneath the surface. And I'll be going through some ways in which you can specifically support yourself during this Venus retrograde. Because Venus retrograde occurs every 18 months, it's a really important time to get really clear on what is considered valuable and secure in your life. Just simple questions you can ask yourself. What do I really value? What does security mean to me? What are some important things in my life, or what are some important people in my life? So your relationship with money will definitely be heightened during this time of Venus retrograde. So it's very important to really be open to receiving what's going to be coming forth over the next few weeks so you can evaluate your self-worth and kind of see any type of financial patterns that may be coming to the surface. So here are three things that you can focus on specifically during Venus retrograde, and then I'll be going into each and every single house. So then this is an optimal time for you to look at your astrology chart to see where Venus lands in your astrology chart. So, number one, it's a really good time during Venus retrograde to evaluate your self worth and your financial patterns. This isn't necessarily to look at your budget or to look at financial trends that you see in the spending, but just kind of do a bird's eye view. Venus governs, like I said, the self worth. And when it happens during retrograde, it forces you to look at unconscious patterns or beliefs around money and abundance and what you feel like you deserve. So anything that is related to maybe old wounds or financial instability may come to the surface. So it's important to just see the correlation that you see between your self-worth and any type of financial patterns. Number two, Venus retrograde is an opportune time to look at financial decisions and maybe unfinished business. They say, a lot of astrologers are say that during Venus retrograde, you'll most likely will be reminded of exes, or maybe an ex may pop up. Well, this in relationship to money, because we are talking about money and self-worth, because that is what Venus does stand for, is that financial unfinished business and financial decisions that you've made in the past, maybe that you at one time thought was not necessarily the best financial decision, but now you can reevaluate it and see if it's something that's a new decision that you want to make to invest in. Maybe you have some outdated money habits that are no longer working. Maybe you're contributing financial energy to something that's not going to be necessarily paying off. Just patterns that may potentially keep you stuck and in this cycle of scarcity, or just things to notice and just see where unfinished business can be wrapped up. And then the third one, like I mentioned before, there will be a heightened awareness around your security and stability. We forget that Venus is not only the sign of love and romance, but when we think of love and romance, it has to do with our stability and security, how we feel stable, how we feel secure in our love. And so the same thing when it comes to our money and our finances, there'll just be a heightened awareness around things that have to do with our security and our stability around money. You may feel a little extra sensitive during this time when it comes to money. I certainly have. I can say this from testament. The minute that this Venus retrograde started, there were things in my financial life that just came to a complete halt and things really shifted dynamically. And it was such an interesting time, and it was an opportunity for me to see what was coming up in regards to the financial issues that were present for me. And it was interesting to see what was coming forth when it came to my security and my instability around money and finances. And so this is an excellent time for you to really define what it means for you beyond material wealth. I talk about wealth wellness, just having an understanding and knowledge around our wealth and what that means to us versus the material wealth that we may have in our life. What's happening inside when it comes to your actual wealth wellness? I recommend going to my Activate Your Inner Wealth and Abundance program. That's an amazing place to start when it comes to just understanding how money and finances can impact you on a different way that maybe you've never thought about before. I'll make sure to have that link below for you in the show notes. So here are a few tools that you can specifically do during Venus retrograde, and these will probably make a little bit more sense after I go through each one of the houses to see where your Venus sign is in. But I definitely recommend during this time some tools that you can utilize during this season through April 12th is to journal about your money story. I have my clients do this when we do our financial code activation to understand what experiences that they've had in the past that have shaped their beliefs around money. What are some of the stories that you believe around wealth? What are some of the stories that you believe around financial abundance? Journaling is definitely a great way to see patterns of behaviors and trends and see what comes forth for you in regards to your relationship with money. Like I said, another way which you can do, which is a little bit more of a masculine approach, is just kind of gently see what type of spending and earning habits that you do on a consistent basis. Just kind of look at your money, be aware of your money. The interesting thing about money relation is the key word is relationship. What is your relationship with money? As you know, when it comes to love and romance, when we desire to manifest a partner or we have a partner in our life, we want to have a certain solid, healthy foundation relationship with them. And as you know, with relationships, it's a two-way street. So you can't expect your money to work for you and do the things that you want for it to do for you if you're not putting in the energy and effort on your end. Just like your partner, your significant other, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, even a family member or a friend, you can't expect to have a relationship with that person by them being the only one doing everything in the relationship or you doing all the work in the relationship. It's a two-way street. And so for you to actually have a relationship with money and your finances, you have to cultivate a relationship with that. When someone told me that, when I learned that about 4 or 5 years ago after I filed bankruptcy, it was my motive, my intention to have a better relationship with my finances and not just budgeting and putting money aside and spreadsheets and reading financial books, but really clearly seeing what was coming forth when it came to my energetics around the exchange when it came to money. How I was feeling when I handled money, how I would feel when I looked at my bank account, the gratitude that I would have, some of the scarcity mindset that I would have, all the spectrum of emotions that I was experiencing when it came to money. So, very important to assess your spending and your earning habits to understand your trends and understand your money story. And then the last one, of course, is something that I definitely implement in manifestation teachings that has to do with our self concept. We practice self worth rituals and affirmations. Definitely excavate the things that are no longer serving you. Look at the shapes of your beliefs. Look at what is no longer serving you. Make sure to get rid of those beliefs. And by doing that, you get to replace those beliefs by implementing things like self-worth rituals and affirmations. Something as simple as an affirmation of I am worthy of financial ease and security. By changing your mindset and grounding and having these grounding practices will really help you to energetically feel more at peace and more grounded when it comes to your money and your finances. Venus, I forgot to mention, is the planet that actually impacts Taurus and Libra. Those are the two signs that it does impact. That's the ruling planets. And Taurus is an earth sign. And so, really getting into that earth energy and feeling really grounded with your self worth and your affirmations will very much support you in your money and your finances during Venus retrograde. Okay, let's get into the fun part of the episode where I'm going to be going through every single of the 12 houses. So, this is an optimal time for you to go to your birth chart. You can go to apps like the Pattern. You can go check out Google and just look at free birth charts. I believe Cafe Astrology does a free birth chart reading. All you'll need is your birth time, your birth location, and your date of birth. And then it'll create a birth chart for you. And you can see where Venus lands in one of the 12 houses. Once you've gathered that information, make sure to look where your Venus sign is and see if it is in retrograde. If it's in retrograde, then it's going to have a little bit more impact on you. Right now, as this podcast episode is released, Venus is in the sign of Aries. It will transition into the sign of Pisces. But at this moment, it starts in this very fiery, more of aggressive sign. And I say that from personal experience because I'm a double Aries. I'm an Aries rising and I'm an Aries sun. So I'm very familiar with Aries energy. It's just a go-getter. Ruled by the planet Mars, just a very impulsive energy. So right now, anything that has to do again with love, romance, security, and finances are just going to be a little bit more on the fiery side. So that's what you're going to be experiencing. Let's go through each one of the 12 houses to see where your Venus sign is in, and we'll go through each one of them, and I'll give you some areas in which you can focus on healing. Okay, the first house, which is Aries energy. If you have your Venus in the first house, it's all going to be about self worth and financial identity. Money reflections revolving about your present self. So, whether your financial choices are aligned and if you're confident in them, retrograde actually may highlight areas that have to do with self doubt and earning potential in impulsive spending habits. So, again, first house, which is this Aries energy, is going to be around self worth and financial identity, anything that has to do with the self, with you. So, an area in which you can definitely focus on during Venus retrograde, if you have your Venus in Aries, is to support yourself and strengthening your self worth through intentional financial choices that reflect your values. Again, this has to do with you. First house is the house of self and self identity. So making sure that you are doing everything that has to do with money and finances that are going to be in alignment with you and your authentic energy. So second house, which is the Taurus energy, has to do with money and security. Like I mentioned, Taurus is ruled by the sign of Venus, or the planet Venus. So it definitely has a lot to do. So you most likely will be impacted a lot during this Venus retrograde, because if you have your Venus in Taurus, it's very much more highlighted during this season. You will be impacted specifically around spending and financial stability. You may have some old money wounds that will come to the surface. Financial flow could feel a little bit on the slow side. You could reevaluate any type of earning strategies or spending habits that you most likely have had over the course of however long, and just kind of evaluate where you are and all that. Again, Taurus is all about the earth energy. So just really finding that stability and groundedness when it comes to your money, and wounds when it comes to money. So this is an opportune time for you to realign your finances with a long-term strategy in mind versus the instant gratification. Again, just think about that earth energy and just building up the stability that you can create for yourself in order to feel more stable when it comes to your finances and your security. Okay, the third house, and this is me because I have a Venus in Gemini. Venus in Gemini has to do with money, mindset, and communication. Gemini is an air sign, all about the communication aspect, moves very, very quickly. So, Venus in Gemini is all about thoughtful conversations when you feel a little bit scattered about money, and just kind of thinking about conversations around money. And that could be conversations with like a financial consultant. This could be negotiations, things like that. Just shifting how you talk about money is very important, because that'll impact the way that you feel about money. So having that conversation, or transitioning your money talk, internal money talk, will definitely be an impactor to you during Venus retrograde if you have your Venus in Gemini. Some things that you can personally do in regards to changing your money belief and also the way you speak around money is reframing your limiting beliefs around money, and improving your financial literacy around money. That doesn't mean that you need to buy every single financial book on the shelves, but it is just taking an opportunity to evaluate a different way or approach that you can have a better communication around money. And I really love that aspect of changing the way that you talk about money. That's going to be a big impactor, having your Venus in Gemini. Okay, fourth house, which is the house of Cancer energy, is going to be around emotions and family ties to money. The fourth house is definitely all about just children and family that have to do with the home life. So, family patterns will definitely come up. If you have your Venus in Cancer, most likely anything that has to do with money when it comes to ancestral beliefs around money, so things that maybe that your parents or grandparents thought about money, this generational scarcity or this generational like beliefs around money, there's going to be a lot of more emotion around that. Cancer is a ruled by the moon, so it's a very emotional sign and energy. So anything that has to do with finances will definitely be heightened in an emotional state. So what you can specifically do if you have your Venus in Cancer is to really focus on family money wounding and establishing a better emotional security with financial habits when it comes to family spending. So, making sure to really focus on. So, if you do have a significant other, somebody that you share expenses and finances with, especially if you have children involved, this is a very opportune time for having a Venus in Cancer to really look at that in a very masculine way, how you can approach money differently, but also the emotional side of the things that will come up, maybe specifically around money, conversations that you may have with your significant other and children around money. So, opportune time to really dive a lot deeper into the ancestral wounding around money beliefs. Okay, fifth house. Leo energy, one of my favorite houses. I actually have a lot of Leo or fifth house placements. This is going to be around pleasure and money. Fifth house energy is creativity. So it's really fun. So it's also about luxury. Think of the lion Leo. So, and it's a fire sign as well. So, you'll be, if you have your Venus in Leo, just look at the luxury when it comes to your spending and also how fun it is to actually spend money in those areas, right? So that's a very positive thing to be thinking about. And then also when it comes to creativity and money, do you have a life that you are creating money? Are you a creative person and getting paid for your money through creative endeavors? Whether you have like passion projects or things like that, or you have romantic financial entanglements, let's say possibly you are still connected financially to somebody that you were living with, you're no longer living with, and maybe you were married and you're financially intertwined. This stuff could come to the surface, these type of things. So, creativity when it comes to your money and finances, and then also if you have passion projects and things that you work on that have to do with the exchange of money, just some things to keep in mind. And there could be some creative blocks when it comes to your finances. So, one of the things that you can do if you do have your Venus in Leo is to make sure that you have your financial choices very much aligned with your joys and your passions, and also your noting your the possibility of overspending and feeling like overspending is a contributing factor to your validation. So, what's coming to mind is that book and movie, The Confessions of a Shopaholic. Just some things to keep in mind as you are spending your money and what it means in regards to your validation and your self worth and your pleasure when it comes to money. So, some things to keep in mind when you have your Venus in the fifth house in Leo. Okay, sixth house, the Virgo energy. So if you have your Venus in Virgo or you have it in your sixth house, just be looking at the themes of money and work routine. So Venus retrograde, like I said, highlights areas that have to do with money and finances, but also most often we are receiving money from some level of work. So it's a really great time to evaluate how you are relating the work, how you work and receive money House of Virgo is also about your health. So, looking at your health and wellness, like I mentioned, and being very financially disciplined. Virgos have this really unique quality of being able to be very disciplined and very organized. Just look at to see if this is something that could be over the top, meaning that you're maybe over calculating and over looking at your bank account and almost being like obsessive about making sure that everything's like in place and a penny here and a penny there, and just being very open to the possibility of your financial habits that make shift during this particular Venus retrograde, because financial routines are definitely a thing for you. If you have your Venus in Virgo, it's going to be impacting the way that you look at your money with the routines, and definitely your spending habits and the work that you may do. So some things that you can focus on during Venus retrograde with healing is create healthy financial routines. So if you are obsessive with your finances and looking at things and have spreadsheets, are very detailed oriented, which is amazing and wonderful, look at how that may be serving you or may not be no longer serving you, to the extent maybe that you're doing, maybe getting a little bit too obsessive or a little bit too into that. Because like everything, there is a shadow and there's a light, and seeing what's really important about balancing, because we're looking at long sustainability rather than burnout for doing something over and over again. Okay, seventh house, Libra energy. So I love Libra. It's the scales, it's the balance, and it is going to be focusing on money and relationships. Libra is seventh house is all about relationships and connections, community. And so with a Venus in Libra, some things that may be coming forth when it comes to your Venus retrograde and what's going to be coming forth is very similar to that of Venus in Cancer and having that in the fourth house, which is themes around partnership, romantic business partnerships when it comes to money. So maybe not necessarily like a family member. This could be a business partner. This could be romantic partner, but also it'll be definitely focus on financial agreements and resources, shared resources, relationships pattern that could be revisited in regards to things that maybe happened in the past when it comes to relationships via money. So maybe if you were married at one time and you had maybe not the healthy spending relationship when it came to money with your significant other, that could totally come to the surface right now. Or if you have a business partner, just be aware that maybe financial agreements or disagreements would be coming to the surface, and really highlighting areas that have to do with relationships and connections. So what can you do for Venus in Libra or Venus in the seventh house is definitely redefine financial balance. That's really important. Like I said, Libra, air sign, all about making sure balance is key. I love Libras in the way that they bring just this very serene, balanced energy when they're in their healthy Libra energy. And so making sure to redefine what balance means to you in regards to your money and your finances with maybe a partner or even on your own, romantic or business, and reassessing what your boundaries are when it comes to money. Air can like move very quickly, so there are really a lack of boundaries as a Libra. So being very intentional about what your boundaries are when it comes to money and money relationships. Okay, eighth house energy, Scorpio energy, Venus in Scorpio. This is my best friend. She has Venus in Scorpio. Love her to death. And also, she's like, "You're my best friend. You're nobody else's." So, very Scorpio energy, and the energy of Venus retrograde when it comes to the eighth house or Scorpio energy is going to be looking at debts, investment, and shared money. So, as you might know, Scorpio is ruled by the planet Pluto, and also in some other astrology aspects, the planet of Aries. And so it's all about deep, deep, deep when it comes to Scorpio energy. So, deep transformation around financial power. This is the house of debt and also shared resources. So, you're thinking of like inheritances, taxes, investments, things like that. So, there could be some really deep unconscious, under the surface, unexpected money shifts that may really occur in your life during Venus retrograde when it comes to having a either eighth house or Scorpio placement in regards to your Venus sign. So some things that you can do to support you on anything that has to do with like your debt or maybe taxes, because it is tax season. Oh my goodness. So it is tax season. And so tax season ends right before, if you're in the United States, that is occurring during Venus retrograde. So some things to keep in mind if you have a Venus and Scorpio in the eighth house are some fears around your money. The depth of the eighth house is very, very important. So looking at what are some really under the surface fears around your finances. Very, very much face those fears. Clear out. It's a really good time to just really assess and, if possible, look at what your debts are. And also, not necessarily like credit card debt and things like that, but maybe like an energetic debt as well. Maybe there's something that you said to somebody that you said, hey, I will do this. And they, had their end of the bargain completed, and you're still kind of left in this area where you, I don't want to say quote unquote owe them, but energetically it's your turn to come forth and hold up your end of the deal. So just some things to consider: financial fears, debts, developing a more financial empowered and strategy when it comes to your finances. The eighth house or Venus in Scorpio. Okay, ninth house, another favorite placement of mine, Sagittarius energy. Saggy is fire energy, and it's going to be about money and growth. Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter, all about expansion. So when it comes to Venus retrograde and having your Venus in Sagittarius and maybe possibly in the ninth house, just looking at when it comes to your money in regards to education, travel, business expansion, and just being aware of asking yourself questions around financial risks and abundance beliefs and your personal growth when it comes to investments. Maybe there was a program that you wanted to join at one time. Maybe you wanted to hire a therapist. Maybe you wanted to invest in a travel expense or business expense, something that's going to expand you to become a better person, expand your experience, expand the things that you maybe not necessarily be doing day to day. Invest in maybe going to school, invest in a series of books that'll help support you in your financial journey, right? So just being mindful that things will come to the surface when it comes to anything around education, travel, business expenses. So anything that's going to expand you on a more grandiose deal. And so what you can do for having ninth house placement or Sagittarius and Venus is making sure that your relationship with money, so you have aligned spending when it comes to long-term expansion, maybe doing some extra investments, opening up that Acorn account, to put a couple dollars in here and there every single paycheck, something very simple rather than impulsive choices. Again, Sagittarius is fire energy. Fire signs can be a little bit on the impulsive side. Good thing Sagittarius it's a mutable sign. So it's very go with the flow kind of thing. So it's very nice that it is able to be expansive, yet it can still be very impulsive in the way too. So just being mindful that you are setting yourself up successfully with finances are going to help you more long term than these very impulsive things that'll just bring you pleasure in that moment. Okay, 10th house, Capricorn energy is the house of career and what people think about you. So Capricorn energy, very masculine energy. It is a earth sign. And so things that may come to the surface if you have your Venus in the 10th house or in Capricorn are concerns related to your career earnings and your long-term success. Definitely Capricorn energy has to do with success as well. and we think about career as being the area of success. So you may have to rethink some areas where you monetize your skills around your career, and you might have some financial delays around that. Maybe you applied for a job and you're waiting to hear back, and it could delay some level of like financial success in your book because you know you're going to get an increase in pay, or maybe it's a new position somewhere else. So just some things to think about that may shed some light on your career and your reputation, and anything that has to do with long-term success in regards to your money. So one simple thing that you can do to support you in the area of having a Venus in Capricorn, or the 10th house, is to reevaluate your financial goals when it comes to your career advancement. Maybe that position you were thinking about wasn't necessarily the position that you really wanted, because it was not going to give you the long-term successful income that you desire, because it's not going to be worth it, because energetically maybe you'll be giving way too much of yourself to it and won't be able to spend time with family and things that will actually set yourself up for success. So some things to think about if you have your Venus in Capricorn, making sure to assess your financial goals and strategies when it comes specifically to your career and your career advancement. Okay, 11th house, Aquarius energy. If you have your Venus in Aquarius or 11th house, to do with money and social networks. The Aquarius energy definitely is collective energy and social networks, connection with other people, and has to do with collaborations. And so looking at things that may come to the surface during Venus retrograde, if you have your Venus in this house or in Aquarius, is looking at your friendships and your group financial contributions, your long-term wealth building plans, money that's related to collaborations and investments for your future goals may come to the surface. So this could be as simple as contributions that you give to nonprofit organizations or things like that may come to the surface. There may be more of a need for that. There may be a need for you to switch the nonprofit organization that you support. Just anything that has to do with money relations when it comes to collaborations and investments. Maybe you have an investment that you've done with a friend or family member, just some things to consider when it comes to your long-term wealth building plans. At this time, it's really great to see what comes to the surface and what manifests in regards to any type of money related collaborations. And also too, it's a great opportunity to assess if those things are areas that you want to start contributing to support not only yourself but your social networks, maybe nonprofit organizations that are in your community that you've been meaning to support and you desire to support going forward. Anything that has to do with that, and some areas in which you can focus on your healing during this time, during this Venus retrograde, is just strengthening your financial future and ensuring that investments are aligned with your ideals. Aquarius energy is really fun because it's very individualistic identity, but it's also, if you are an Aquarius or you have Aquarius energy in your Venus, just a reminder, Aquarius is the water bearer, people like Oprah. So just think of that type of energy. They contribute a lot. They're very self-identified. They're very in their own identity and aligned with their ideals, but they are very giving and they do a lot of contributing. So again, these are areas in your life that you just want to consider when it comes to your financial vision for your future. Just making sure that those contributions in your life are actually going to be aligned with who you are authentically as a person. Okay, final house, Pisces. So if you have a Venus in Pisces, or if you have Venus in the 12th house, you are going to be doubly impacted here with the subconscious beliefs around finances, money, love, all the things. Hidden financial fears are definitely going to be coming to the surface during Venus retrograde for you. So any type of past life money karma, subconscious abundance blocks will really be coming apparent, and any type of like secret things or hidden expenses may even come to light. Let's say you didn't even know that you were paying for a membership, and all of a sudden it like pops up and you see it and you're like, wait a second, didn't realize that I was paying for this membership. And so that's your opportunity to kind of see like, okay, what's happening in my finances that this popped up out of nowhere. So financial fear is definitely coming to the surface. The 12th house is definitely about the subconscious part, the things that we don't necessarily see on the surface. Pisces is the most ethereal sign out there. So having a Venus in Pisces is definitely what comes to mind as somebody that really has their head in the clouds very often. I'm a moon in Pisces, so I very much relate to Pisces energy. I daydream a lot. My mind goes it goes into places that I have to remind myself to come back to ground base very often. So just keeping in mind some things that may come to the surface or any type of abundance blocks that you may have around money will definitely come to the surface if you have any placements when it comes to Venus in the 12th house or Venus in Pisces. So, making sure one of the things that you can do to help heal yourself during this Venus retrograde is release the money scarcity mindset big time and working to develop a better financial relationship when it comes to your trust and faith in your money and your finances. I have an amazing hypnosis that would definitely support you, especially somebody that has 12th house placements and Venus in Pisces. Definitely, that'll be very supportive to you in regards to this. Obviously, the hypnosis will help anybody, but as I was saying, the 12th house is definitely the area of subconscious beliefs. So anything that has to do with money is going to be 10x during this Venus retrograde. So making sure to be very mindful about strengthening your relationship with your scarcity mindset, meaning having a better relationship when it comes to money by really excavating and letting go of those things that really no longer serve you in regards to your money patterns and beliefs. Okay, I just went through all the houses. That was super fun to go through and just explain to you how your Venus can impact you during this Venus retrograde. If you desire to go deeper, I have an amazing offering just for you during Venus retrograde, and that is only until April 12th. So during this time, during Venus retrograde, I have this offering that is the financial code activation times 10. So basically, what we will be doing is the financial code activation, which I shared with you. Ashley went through, which was amazing. She manifested $3,000. I've had other people go through this program, which has been absolutely transformative for them. And we'll be going a lot deeper in regards to your Venus sign and your astrology chart to help you with your manifestation process. This particular offering, again, is only good until April 12th, and it is on a very amazing price of $555. This is a total of 3 sessions with me working one-on-one. We'll be going through the 3 steps of the manifestation process and the framework that I use myself all the time to manifest amazing things into my life and has supported other people to manifest money into their life, like Ashley, the $3,000 that she manifested after doing 1 hypnosis session with me and 1 additional session on top of that. And so this is an amazing opportunity for you not only to heal yourself during Venus retrograde and get a lot deeper within your Venus sign and understanding how that impacts your relationship to money, but also to transform your mindset around money and abundance in general. And I provide tools and resources that you can implement every single day going forward. It's not a one and done type of thing. You will have a strategy and a process that can support you going forward even after we finish working together. So I'll have that information below. Again, this is a financial code activation, specifically a Venus retrograde offering for the $555. I'll have that below and can't wait to see you really, really soon in that particular offering. And very excited for what Venus retrograde will help support you in regards to healing your money story. Make sure to take a screenshot of this episode if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple and tag me at Sarita Wellness. Or you can take a screenshot here on YouTube if you're watching this on the YouTube channel and tag me at Sarita Wellness in your Instagram stories or your Facebook and let me know how this episode has impacted you, what your Venus sign is in, what you've learned. And also, as always, make sure to share this with somebody that you know is going to be supportive supported in regards to their money journey and their Venus sign, specifically during Venus retrograde. So, and again, I'm always very open to when you leave feedback on the platform that you are listening or watching this episode on, make sure to do that. And when you do, I'm going to do this very special actually. When you leave a review on this podcast, most specifically on Apple, because I believe that's the only one that you can actually leave a review on, make sure you take a screenshot of that review and email it to info@saritawellness.com. And I will send you that money hypnosis that I mentioned a little bit earlier, absolutely free. So normally that hypnosis goes for $97, and I will send it to you absolutely free. So make sure when you do leave a review on Apple Podcasts, make sure to take a screenshot, because sometimes it takes a couple days for it to load up. I've noticed that. So make sure to take a screenshot of that episode, email it to me, tag me in your stories, and I will send you that hypnosis right away so you can start healing your money story and your money relationships, especially during Venus retrograde. It's been amazing being with you here during this wonderful podcast episode. Back to here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast, talking about Venus retrograde. I absolutely love being here with you every other Monday. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and make sure, like always, to keep being the amazing you that you are. Take care and see you soon. Hey love, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.